Hello, and this is Play Casket. You are actually talking to Paraka, or listening to, per se, and my friend here.
Hi, I'm Ghost, and I'll be the host. Or not the host, but co-host.
So basically, we're uh, just a podcast starting off, and we're going to be talking about stuff about video games and a variety of different weird nerd stuff, and more of a breakdown instead of a day-to-day news cycle. So we're going to talk about stuff that may have happened in the past week and a variety of different little politics and philosophies about what we can do in the video game industry that would be basically our perspective because as gamers we're all egotistical and we all know better than anyone else.
Or as I like to say, love, hate, all things geek and nerd. Maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
um, so because it's just the first one, we're just going to do stuff that's really pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and talk about like our favorite consoles. I'm going to go ahead and let you go ahead and take the wheel on this one
Okay.
and kind of talk about yours because you obviously have a lot more analytics as to why you like consoles on just even an external level.
Yeah. Well, one thing about the first console that always comes to my mind is the Game Boy Advance. If it was just your best console or the best console, Game Boy Advance has always been my go-to. I love my portable systems. So Uh, even the form factors, just the way they look, the way they feel. I think Nintendo just freaking hit it out of the ballpark. They're the kings of handhelds.
Yeah, I actually kind of like some of this stuff when we were talking earlier about how the consoles, about how the consoles and such uh, have a little cartridges that have a little like lip on it that you can easily like get your thumb underneath and maybe be able to pop out and stuff like that. That's actually honestly, without thinking about it, like you didn't really think much about it. Like, oh yeah, I really appreciate that. But honestly, when we're all kids, we don't care. We just want to pop the game out because playing Panobi for like 3 hours would be absolute shit. So, um, and then
Well,
we
it
just go
feels
go
yeah,
on.
it feels so nice when like even when you're like you only got one game and you can't afford it, but you got that one game that your parents are willing to give to you, and uh, you're done playing, and then you just sit and admire the design. Like the Game Boy Color is just like, oh my god, look at this thing. Like
I don't think I had that type of thing with at least the Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color much. Pardon me. But I had an admiration for the weird clamshell design that the original DS had because at the time I didn't have a Game Boy Advance SP until after the fact, so I never really like look back at it fondly at like other people. Like I look back at it like it was a way to be able to play my Game Boy Advance games long after my Game Boy Advance happened. Like I didn't have one of those, so having having the backlight was like wild for me for a
yeah, it
moment
was,
for like the Game Boy Advance. Like it was kind of a trip for me
this is
because
peak technology. Nothing could beat this. Yeah.
we are we yeah we have now reached pure gaming technology. We will never be able to surpass it at all. Um, but no, like I was playing like just with the S and stuff, like the tiny cartridges and stuff. I was so paranoid with um, losing my games that like I hated ever seeing any like if I could buy anything used because I bought a shit ton of stuff that used, um, and anything that didn't have like a case for it, I would just be like, nope, it's dead to me now. I can't have this. I
Really?
can't have this game because I was super paranoid about losing them.
Oh, okay.
So for like the most of the
Well,
hand,
just the cardboard stuff, or is it like
it's for like
everything?
just basically well no because the cartridges of like Game Boy Advance and like even the UMDs I had next to no real problem with.
Yeah.
I had problems with the UMDs coming out of the PSP like they're like fucking Star Wars lasers, but
Yeah, those
that's
things
the
broke all the damn time.
like that's why it's the only handheld I ever sold back
Oh, okay.
because I was so pissed with that thing, and I was also an edgy teenager, so you know if my if my console's being edgier than me, I can't have that. I can't have competition.
I like it because the music player, like I PSP, like PSP was the only thing I had as my media player because uh, it was I didn't get my first CD until or my first CD player until sophomore year. So yeah, I'm obsessed with like portable my portable music player, and then yeah, I use the PSP for like everything. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was nice.
Yeah, for me, I kind of get that a little bit, but it was more because I didn't have a proper CD player in my car. So once I did, I had way too many CDs for my own good in my car. Like they're in the middle compartment and all that. But I never really used any of my systems for any type of media player. Like no movies, no, like even the Game Boy, like I think it was the Game Boy Advance, had a bunch of like Nickelodeon cartoons
Yeah,
for a bit and stuff too.
that stuff's
Yeah,
so cool as hell. I
like
still wish they brought that
I was
back.
like those were neat. Looking back at it now, like those are kind of interesting
Yeah.
because it wasn't something you, but I didn't need to watch cartoons anymore, Mom. I had puberty. My balls dropped. I need to play the edgier games.
Well, that also reminds me of the iPod, where the iPod had a bunch of like, because like everybody loved the iPod, everybody talked
Yeah.
about the iPod, and they started getting like all these weird attachments for the iPods. So it
Oh
just reminds me
yeah,
about
yeah.
The Game Boy Advance started getting a bunch of weird attachments for the.
Oh yeah, and like the e-reader, and they had like
The
they had this one
radio.
thing in Japan that like I think it was also for the DS, but it could just be for the DS. I could be dumb on this one, but they had this one that had like a weird roller camera on it, and you had to put it on the table, and you controlled the whole thing by moving it across the table.
What?
And
I
it
gotta
was
see
like a
this.
weird like centipede one, and it was only this one small game, and it was the weirdest thing. And I'm like, how are you even possibly use? Or even Boktai. Boktai was another one
I
that
love
used like
Boktai.
light and stuff. Like, what kind of crap are we doing?
Yeah,
I liked it.
yeah.
I mean, I didn't get to play it too much because I lived in a basement and
I
I
got a
had
copy.
attitude.
I got
But
a copy.
I need to go. I need to try that again because I played what is it, like Lunar Nights or something like that, the
Yeah.
spiritual successor.
Ah,
Or
that's like nothing.
yeah, like that's the only other one I played. Um,
First Boktai is where it's at. I got the second one too, but second one's like grindy as shit. But I like the first one. It feels like a true. It feels like a real Kojima game. It's basically Metal Gear, but it's so fun though.
Yeah, I was always interested in like the Kojima stuff. Like outside of Metal Gear, I still have no love for the Metal Gear. The only one I ever really played was the first one, like the very first NES one, and it frustrated me because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing with it,
Yeah.
and then because I was young and stupid, but then I got the Twin Snakes remake on it, and I still couldn't play it because I was older and still stupid. Um, but like honestly, I liked some of the weird, interesting stuff other people go and like I do a lot of this weird military espionage. I'm gonna make stuff about clowns killing dinosaurs, and I'm like I am on board with that no matter how that ends up.
Well, if you get a chance, maybe watch watch a playthrough of Metal Gear, like all the Metal Gears, because I think it has to do with like betrayal and all this sci-fi stuff. It all doesn't wrap up until the last of Sons of Liberty.
Don't tell me it's a queen. Don't tell me it's like a Kingdom Hearts story. Like that's not something I'm willing to endure again.
It kind of is,
Oh,
but when you get to
it's gonna unlock Keyblades.
but when you get to Metal Gear 4, right? Sons of Liberty, the one on
Yeah,
PS3,
yeah.
he ties it all up. It's done pretty freaking well. So
Okay.
I think you'll get a kick out of it.
I'll probably watch a synopsis by
Yeah,
some
basically.
random YouTuber who's like half drunk, and then that way I can actually understand some of the shit that's going on in it.
It still has the whole Nomura, the whole Nomura. It doesn't make any sense, but it kind of comes
Nomura just
together.
kicked down the door. Did you ask for more belts? What's that, dude? You know what? He just needs to make an entire RPG that's just belt characters, just characters that are actual belts. about the story of how to hold their pants up or something, some bullshit, some anime bullshit. They have anime spiky hair and stuff, just stuff that doesn't make sense for a belt, and just fucking roll with it. Make an entire RPG just based on like a family of belts or some bullshit.
We have Panty Party. Why not Belt Party?
Yeah, do it, do it. Belt adventure, belt venture. Let's do it. Here first, Nomura. Just saying.
And then what else? The Switch.
Give the belts more belts.
The Switch, it's killing it. I don't think if we get Dark Souls 2 and 3, the Switch is king. I don't know what else could beat Switch.
Honestly, like I didn't expect Switch to take off this much. Like I really didn't. Like I liked the Wii U.
Yeah.
I like the Wii. I like I'm a Nintendo fan. So like most of my favorite franchises are what Nintendo makes.
I was a Sony fan.
I don't think I think I was probably more of a Sega fan back in the day. But I don't know. A lot of my favorite franchises, Kirby, Donkey Kong Country and stuff, childhood ones, they're my favorite ones. And like so it would behoove me to get Nintendo consoles if I want more of it. It's just a brain dead decision. Like I'm not gonna buy a PlayStation 5. I'm like, just wait until Nintendo really collapses and go third party any day now. Jesus Christ, Sega's been making a comeback since 2002. Just saying. But honestly, like I actually agree with the whole Switch thing though. Like I'm gotten to that point, and I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me too, that people should just port the shit out of things to the Switch. Like,
I paid top dollar for anything that could be portable. Like, that's where it's at. Portability and physical buttons. Like,
not only that, like, just like it has high console experiences.
yeah,
At the same time, you can put it on your TV, and yeah, I get that it's not as powerful as the PS4 or the PS5 or anything, but I have a PC called Megatron for a reason. Like that thing is huge, and that thing will always dominate anything I play. Like that's just how it is.
well, you don't want, how should I put this? Graphics don't really matter. Like, nobody cares about, when you want to play chess, you can do it with salt and pepper shakers. You don't want a $20,000 chessboard with gold and diamond pieces, because you can still play chess just using salt and pepper shakers. That's kind of the point. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that too. But like honestly, it's got like I used to be against a lot of ports and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And just recently, like learning a bit more about like how video games are becoming more demanding and stuff to develop. Like in a way, it's a way to do crowdfunding that you're still getting a reward for.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you like that new idea for Legend of Zelda? Well, we got this game that we're going to be porting over to the Switch, and it's Skyward Sword. Like, a lot of people want that. If you want Breath of the Wild 2 to get developed faster, or maybe what's going on after that, like Splatoon 3 or whatever, just buy this game. And that's basically like, it's like donating the $60 and going through and getting a game.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like how people do the Kickstarter stuff. Like, hey, if you donate $70 for this and this, you'll you may or may not get an art book signed by Jesus or something.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna get it. You might not get it.
Well, the thing about your boy Zach, when he was talking about why he doesn't do tiered goals anymore, was because once a certain goal, so like the first 1,000 people who pre-order will get the special thing. So the first 1,000 hits, the guys who wanted to be the first 1,000 miss, it drops off. So he's like, oh, I shouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, no, no, like it's and that's what like we could get into a whole different thing with Kickstarter, but I think that's going to deserve a whole entire focus on that one, like
Okay.
Kickstarter and crowdfunding and like the idea behind it and all that. But I believe like ports are a way to basically fund a Kickstarter without actually having a Kickstarter.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know?
But the
Like,
thing is, like,
for example, there was a Kickstarter out there for a Glover 2. And I think it was actually not by the people who owned Glover, but the sheer, like, what I want to talk about is the fact that the reward system was if you pay like $40 into it, you got a PC version of the original Glover, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people thought that would be a good idea. With that being a good idea, that's basically getting a port, you know, like pay for ports, and we fund stuff, like simple as that, right?
Yeah.
And I honestly think with the ports, and especially like with games becoming increasingly more demanding for development.
Or this could sound crazy. You could just do cheaper development.
And that's the problem. Like that's another whole problem too, is a lot of like the marketing and stuff. Like people want more powerful systems, and even though the PS5 and the Xbox Series X just recently came out, they're already outdated. They're already outdated. So people are already ready for their 12Ks and their 120 frames per second. Going higher, like your 240s and stuff like that. Like they're like, where's my faster smootherness? Where's this and this? Like where's my hyper neon light? I don't know. You know, like it's not. Like they're gonna ask for these demands, and it's just the same thing with when the PS2 went into the PS3. It became what roughly 4 times more money and resources demanded to even make the same type of game.
I know everybody's waiting for what?
Remember,
Devil May Cry 4 for the longest time. Everybody was waiting for the Final Fantasy remake on PS2. Holy shit! It wasn't until the PS5, PS4.
Yeah, PS4.
Yeah,
PS4.
it was till we finally got a remake because everybody was like, "Oh, the PS2's out. Are we gonna get a Final Fantasy VII remake?" Like,
I don't think the remake was being demanded until 3. And I think what kind of helped spur that kind of idea was Resident Evil did it just one generation later, but with Resident Evil and stuff. And so people just started realizing the capacity of the change that has happened from Resident Evil 1 to 2. People started wondering what else can be done like that, and people started thinking, their favorite games, stuff like that. So some people were asking for Final Fantasy VII already, because obviously Final Fantasy 9, looking back at 9 to what 7 looked like in the original PlayStation.
But that's where we start to fall into remakes of remakes of remakes, and it's like, okay, guys, like.
Well, even the thing is, like, making remakes costs a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Whereas if they can just port over a game, and you're not even guaranteed the same experience anymore.
Yeah.
Again, Final Fantasy VII is a good example of that.
Okay. Sorry.
We're gonna sell this game
out.
3 times, and you're gonna enjoy it. Also, we're gonna change the story so you see Sephiroth every time.
Member berries?
I remember. But yeah, no, that's the problem. But at the same time, like, hey, if you want this Final Fantasy VII remake to happen, it's gonna cost us a lot of money. What if we release, like, just re-release and up-res some games of Final Fantasy? Fucking port it to Switch, port it to PS4, and they ported a bunch over to. They're probably going to be porting all of them to the PS5 eventually too, and then they use that money to develop the next chapter of Final Fantasy VII Remake. And
yeah, but that's like
your investment technically has already been a return because you got the game.
Yeah.
The thing is that we're demanding so much more, and like the market shifted with the PS3 too, because they're changing the market of instead of just like this weird, wacky. We got all these niche games. We just have so much exploration and stuff. They changed it to like you can even watch it in the ads and stuff too. Um, just they were shifting over to a more tech junky, tech showcase
Yeah.
type of marketing.
Well, that's what the whole
Well,
PlayStation and PlayStation Vita was like too. It
yeah,
was just, it wasn't about pushing good games. It was just trying to sell cool tech to these younger guys.
and then yeah, and in turn with that, it started appealing to people who wanted games that showcased what they just bought. Like like no one who originally buys a PS5 is excited to buy Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
And as many people are like, man, I really wish, like, for instance, like we were going back to the Switch again. Man, I wish the Switch would be more powerful so we could have all these good-looking games. Well, we want these Call of Duties. How many people really want to play Call of Duty though?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's a ton out there that play Call of Duty, but that's all they play.
Yeah. Well, that's the, what is it? The Norman crowd. It's also like you know, was it Pez? Most of the soccer games, because they would never,
PES.
huh?
PES,
PES.
yeah.
Yeah. They would never touch, Mario. They wouldn't even play Call of Duty, but they would buy a console just for soccer or football.
Yeah,
But
we've
yeah.
had people who buy a console just for one game.
Yeah.
Like, and the people who are saying, oh well, if we had those type of games on the Switch, but the Switch needs to be more powerful to appeal to them, then it's not going to appeal to them.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, all they have to do is just say, well, I have an account with Sony anyway. I might as well just buy the Sony console.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a hard sell for Nintendo. Whereas Nintendo appealing to indies like they've been doing and stuff, and their market's more accepting to it.
Yeah.
Like, people who are buying Nintendo Switch ain't expecting Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like, they're expecting Mario and Zelda, and they're expecting games like Mario and Zelda. So when indie developers are out there making games like Mario and Zelda, they're gonna take note and buy those games like Mario and Zelda.
Yeah.
There's actually been increasing more reports that the cell version of indie titles of the Switch are outpacing even PC in some cases.
Yeah.
But like, as many people say, like, the PC has what, 5 times more market base than all 3 consoles combined.
Yeah, but it's a tsunami of like shit.
Yeah,
And
they're gonna have to dig.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I don't know many people who will just Google a genre
Yeah.
and go maybe even 5 pages in on Steam
Yeah.
before they just like, okay, clearly none of this is good,
Yeah.
and then they carry on and find something else. Like,
Yeah.
it happens, and all it takes is just 5 pages. If you're not on those 5 pages, then it's not happening.
Yeah.
Like-
When you Google what's the closest Mexican restaurant, you don't go to page 20. You just what's the first 5? Like
Yeah, you're gonna go through, and you're probably gonna go to like maybe the second page.
yeah.
But once you get to like the third page, you're like, okay, you know what? This Mexican restaurant is actually located in Wyoming. I'm probably not going to drive 5 miles down to get there,
Yeah.
or 50,000 miles or whatever.
But anyways, but favorite consoles. Anyways, back.
Back on the track. Back on the track. We're gonna just
I saw Xbox. Jesus, like the 360. It was so beautiful. And then, who were the 2 guys that they got rid of?
Oh, I wouldn't be able to know off the top of my head.
Yeah, but when they ran Xbox, it was like the most beautiful thing ever. I was so happy. I was so proud of my Xbox 360, and they got rid of them, and then Thanos just came by and snapped them away. Yeah, Jesus Christ! Like, but by the time I was able to afford a PS3, it was just like there's nothing left to buy on the Xbox 360 because I got most of the games I wanted. BioShock, I think, was like the most painful exclusive that they lost because I bought a 360 just for BioShock and Borderlands. Those were like BioShock, Borderlands, and Call of Duty. I freaking love those games. And then they lost their exclusivity, and it was just like, well, I guess it doesn't really matter anymore what console I get. And I was like, I was super
And
disappointed.
I think that's another huge problem with they were coined the HD twins, and I'm just gonna stick with that anyway. Um, but there's a problem with them because of that they're the twins.
Yes.
There's nothing really desirable between the two except for exclusives, and they're so far and few between that really appeal to a big market that's even makes them better.
Yeah.
The thing that really makes them different is whether or not you had an account with trophies or you had an account with achievements that you can carry over.
The dick hat.
Yep, the big old EP. And that's going to be an entire topic all of its own. But
I feel bad for the poor bastard who hit level 100. He got the. Have you seen his dead face?
no,
Oh, I love that meme. So it was like they were handing him the award of the guy who the first guy who hit level 100 in PlayStation trophies, and he just looked dead as fuck.
oh my god. Like even I can't even play like a good sum of time on just one game. I have an attention span of a bumblebee, but that's beside the point. But like I just don't have much time. Like I got to play like on the Switch the Grandia HD collection that came out a while back. I just bought it, and it was one of my favorite RPGs during the Dreamcast era. And I played halfway through it to acknowledge, yeah, the voice acting aged like sour milk. But then I had to save it, and
Is
then
this
that
too
was it.
distracting? Should I throw on something a little?
No, we're good.
Okay.
That's fine.
I just want to keep it from closing out, whatever. So.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. So that's just like I just had time to go. Yeah. He said it that way, and it didn't sound at all believable. And then I saved, and I had to turn it off and do realistic adult stuff, which I don't like doing.
Yeah.
But
Well, the thing is, like, difficulty also comes into play because I think when the Xbox 360 started coming out, like the 360, the Wii, and the PS3 kind of had like this golden age where we had this good medium of balance of difficulty that we figured that if it's too damn hard, forget it. I'm not going to bother with it. Like, if I give you $1 million to reach the end, sorry, if I give you $1 million to hit the coast, just to drive to the coast, you would do it. But you have to do it within an hour. Even if it's $1 million, that's impossible. I can't do it. Even if I give you $1 million.
I don't got no jet engine. Am I able to buy a jet engine for $1 million? Yeah. If I buy a jet engine for $1 million, I would no longer have the jet engine.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to be on. I wouldn't have the $1 million. I would just have a jet engine, and I'm going to be at the coast.
Yeah. So
not really going to work out that well for me.
Difficulty is like a nice thing that we've kind of discovered.
Yeah. I think honestly, like the Wii itself too, kind of helped surge gaming back in too, because the PS5, PS3, and the PS they're on a decline. Just gaming in general, like people are just like.
Oh yeah, the Wii
fading
saved
away,
the industry for sure.
And honestly, like everybody was trying to push for the high end technology at the time, and nobody could afford anything. We're going through a recession. So guess what? Guess what the Wii was the brand new console anyone can still technically afford.
Yep.
And then of course it the Wii died before it actually officially died. But once everything started leveling out and people stopped playing the Wii and stuff, they're like, wow, games are still fun. I'm going to see what else is out there. And started buying discount PS3s and discount Xbox 360s, and it just started taking off again.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's why probably the PS4 was so popular, is because now people kind of had a renewed vigor for video games.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they were still marketing as a tech platform,
Yeah.
a tech toy. And because of that, obviously people want games that showcase that experience. So games like stuff from Nippon Ichi Software and stuff were starting to steadily decline. And from what I'm hearing, they've been increasing in the decline in Sony's markets since probably the Switch even got released.
They got too big for their pants. That's like,
I wouldn't say they got too big for the pants. They just appealed to a market that just doesn't indulge in other games.
well, the thing is,
And
like,
Sony, the thing is, Sony's not worried about companies like Nippon Ichi Software.
yeah,
They don't care because it's of no consequence to Sony. Like it just happens.
yeah,
So for them, like if they can sacrifice a Nippon Ichi, a Natsume, a what's another good one? That's a low end one. An
Exceed.
Exceed, a Marvelous. If they can sacrifice them or Grasshopper or whatever, to get 2 more EA games, they'd rather do that because EA's games are what sells their consoles, or Activision's major games sells their consoles. Call of Duty sells their consoles.
but I think also consumers are just getting a lot smarter. You can't fool us with anime bullshit anymore, guys. Like, I remember playing the PS3, and they had so many cool anime. Huh?
You can fool me. I'll allow it.
Well, it was very few and far between when we got like these cool anime games, because you look at the cover like, oh, it's cool. Like we don't get this. It's always Call of Duty, or the cool gruff.
Oh my
Marine
God,
guy.
Silhouette Man with gun?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
But anime cover, I'll buy it. It wasn't until the PS3 when I started buying a bunch of them. These aren't really fun. So it's just like consumers are getting a lot smarter.
What do you mean Tenkaichi's fucking shit? Oh,
It's Dragon Ball
yes
Z.
it is.
Meter management game. Yeah.
Tenkaichi's crap. Fight me. But no, I think it's because it started tying into licensed games. I think it slowly the style of licensing games that we've been experiencing for a while since like late PS2 era when we started realizing everything is on like a time budget, so they have to release certain games in a matter of time to match and sell with the movie that's releasing at the time. Turns
Yeah,
out
it's
to
also
be
really
absolute
stupid
garbage.
too. Holy shit. Freaking Battlefront? Yeah.
Yeah.
It had nothing to
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the movie, but you better get it out before the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, what
Better get the
fuck?
Star Wars before you see the Star Wars so you can Star Wars while you Star Wars.
But don't spoil anything.
Don't you dare. Also, pay like fucking $80 for Vader. That sounds like a great idea. Because how else are you gonna feel cool? But no, I think that's where a lot of people started like wanting to shift gears. That was right around the time where indies started like really finding a level of a foothold in the PC area.
Yeah.
And more indies obviously like dogpiled into Steam and GOG and I don't know.
No, that was another thing though. Like why Steam is where it's at, because they were willing to publish games on their page because it was just like it's a $3 game. Sony is like it needs to be $20 and you got to foot the bill for the disc. It's like no, we can't do that. We just want to sell a little tiny, 100 meg game for $3. It's like Steam will take it. Fuck it, we'll take it. But yeah, if you want to go to Sony, Nintendo, or Xbox, like you need to foot the bill for the discs. You got to foot the bill for putting it on the page, and then whatever you make, that's all yours. It's like no, we'll just go to Steam then.
Yeah.
Steam is just running
Like
circles around.
at that time, that was exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
Like that was exactly, and then like Nintendo was even more strict because they had the publisher stuff.
Yeah.
And
D3 also helped a lot. That was the Onichambara and
I
what was it?
remember that game. I had a game that used a fire sword or whatever.
Okay.
From it too, like D3 publisher.
Yeah.
There was a lot of D3 publishers on the Wii.
Matt was telling me about. I can't remember what they were called, but they were like the D320 or something like that. It was just these games that were super cheap to develop. They released brand new for $20, and it helped save the systems. And it was a great idea. And like they're like, we'll just waive your publishing fee and just get it out there and make a profit. And it's like, no, they should start doing stuff like that more. But it's just like,
Well, they don't need to now.
yeah,
Because they have the digital space that almost every system has now. It's just some companies like having a sale on a game like Shovel Knight that isn't Shovel Knight on PlayStation 4 or 5.
yeah,
It ain't going anywhere. The only reason why Shovel Knight is very successful on Sony and Microsoft's platforms is because it was one of those why not me situations where when their Kickstarter succeeded, it was supposed to be for the 3DS and the Wii U.
yeah,
And people are like, well, why not me? I want those type of games. And because they weren't going to get it, they were demanding it and stuff. Of course, it was hitting PC anyway.
Yeah.
Like it was just going to happen. So just assume when we're talking about games like this, it's going to PC.
yeah.
It even dominated on PC in sales.
Yeah.
It sold the most on the Wii U, but not by a large margin.
Okay.
And then they were able to port it over to the other systems, and that's why they're successful. However, a game like Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon, the 8-bit versions of those games, they're highly regarded on the, at least with the Switch community and stuff, but I barely hear anything on the other two communities.
Yeah.
Like, I barely hear anything on them, and it's because they're 8-bit.
Yeah.
Even though they're tied to a Bloodstain, which is like a resurgence of Castlevania,
Yeah.
and mildly popular. Like I think it's successful now.
Yeah.
It's gotten crossovers in like 3 different games already.
Oh wow.
Like it's going to Blasphemous now too, which is a fucking mind trip of a
Yeah.
game to
Oh
begin
wow.
with.
Yeah, that game looks hard as shit too.
It is.
I love Dark Souls, but I can't play Blasphemous. Maybe I'll get into it eventually, but he's too weighty. That's one thing that really pisses me off. Is he feels too heavy. So whenever I land, I'm always in their hitbox. That always like. So I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna avoid this game for a little bit.
It kicks my ass all the time. Actually, I'm not very far in that game.
Well, it looks cool as fuck though.
It's actually pretty good. I picked it up from Limited Run Games on a whim, and I don't regret it.
Okay.
If I knew what I know now, I probably would have already bought it digitally too.
Okay.
Just because it was a good game.
Yeah.
Like it's actually good.
Okay.
It's funny because just after that, LRG released Dark Devotion, and it was kind of the same way.
Uh-huh.
And it's not as exciting.
Ah.
Like it's not. I don't know. There's something about that game that's just genuinely disinteresting in comparison to Blasphemous. Blasphemous has some pretty heavy undertones in their story.
Yeah.
Like there's some stuff that's just like it's both of them have some pretty dark stories, but there's something about Blasphemous that just hits a tone that just is uneasy in a good way.
Yeah.
But Blasphemous isn't as successful on the PlayStation 4.
No.
It is successful in general.
Yeah.
But it was out there for like roughly a year or so more than by the time it got to the Switch, and it still sold better on the Switch.
Really?
And it's just because it's a pixel art game. Nobody wants to be buying a pixel art game
Yeah.
they don't know about. Like
They'd
they're
rather
not
pay-
aware of. They're
yeah,
not.
they'd rather pay
They're
for
not. They're
Call of
not
Duty.
praised for a Shovel Knight out
Yeah.
there. Like it's not being praised. It's not being.
Which is kind of a shame too, because that's what the PS2 was. The PS2 was willing to pick up games that
Yeah.
Nintendo didn't want to.
Dude, I love the
up.
PS2 for that reason.
Yeah.
Like there was what was it, Tokobot or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know why that game, as stupid as they was, had so much fun with it.
Samba de Amigo.
Somebody, I mean,
Now we don't see it.
Well,
Yeah.
I had that on the Dreamcast, so that's where it originated. That's where it started,
Oh, okay.
because that's actually a Sega game.
What's a Dreamcast?
Ow. Ow. I'm removing you off of like my friend Facebook bullshit. But no, yeah, like just those type of games aren't as successful anymore. They're not like they don't. And it's just because the market just isn't as interested. Like if Blasphemous really like hit it out of the park for Sony, like if like or just in general, like it was just this like breakout game,
Yeah.
it would have sold more on a Sony console.
Yeah.
Just because it would have been one of those, I want to know what's all about this game.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Even then, though, maybe
But the
like
thing is, when it's not that breakout of a game, more people who buy those consoles aren't gonna just naturally get into them. Some
Yeah.
will try it, like that's just the nature of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, when you're buying a PS5 console, you want a game that shows off the PS5's power.
yeah,
It just makes sense.
don't buy a Lamborghini to go get groceries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's straight up. That's basically it. Like you don't do that
Yeah.
unless it's some sexy groceries. then I'd probably look the other way.
Unless you're a Arabic prince. And yeah. Like, oh,
You just have
it needs an oil change anyways. Just drive it down there and leave it in the parking lot. Nobody gives a shit.
he just like drives there in his Lamborghini, and then he just has 5 gold people painted in gold just to pick him up and carry him all the way home. That sounds about right. But yeah, no, and I think that's why I actually really appreciate like what Nintendo does a lot.
Yeah.
It's because like they're not too egotistical about the way their games are presented. Like
Yeah.
it's Mario. Like
You guys know we are decent Nintendo fanboys.
I think that was established already.
Okay.
But no, like I think that's why I like my favorite console, since we never really got to me, was the GameCube.
Yeah.
I had like well over like 350 games for it. I loved the tiny little discs because then you could just put them like there are 2 of them in like one little case and
Yeah.
stuff, so you don't get these weird sizes and stuff, which bothered me for some reason when I was a kid.
I like the little center button. It was always satisfying to push it.
Oh yeah, the little thing that pops it up. Yeah, mine broke. But I liked the fact that like a lot of games at the time was very like it was the experimental games of the PS2 started bleeding into the GameCube one.
Yeah.
But not all of them, but the ones that did finally bleed into it were some really like unique ones. Like one of my favorite games on the GameCube was a From Software series called Lost Kingdoms.
Yeah.
It was like a card battling game.
You're not a real Dark Souls fan until you play this.
I thought that was Kingsville.
Yeah. That
Okay.
too.
But like Lost Kingdoms was really good because of that. Like you had unique styles of different cards. So you had stuff that would directly attack. Like you transform into like a lizard man, and you did a slash for that card.
Oh, okay.
So it was a direct, immediate attack. Other things were like summons, so you could summon like a weird beetle that would just chase around monsters, but it was too slow to fucking hit anything. So it just sit there and become a target eventually. But as that time rolls around, you were like shuffling through your cards and getting the new cards and stuff. And some of them were spells, some of them were AoEs, and like you really actually had to make a deck with the unique fighting styles of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the rarer ones even were transformed you for a short period of time. And it was, I loved it. I loved the way that combat system was.
Yeah.
I would honestly pay full price for both of them being ported to the Switch.
No, okay.
I would prefer them in a package together, but
You're paying $60.
I would pay $60 for each. As much as From Software shouldn't be hearing that.
If they did Dark Souls 2 and 3 right now, I paid $60 for each. The slow motherfuckers. Hurry the hell up. Jesus Christ.
We are the worst marketing team on the face of this fucking earth. But yeah, like there's that game, and then I also like there's another game that bled over from Capcom called Gotcha Force.
Smash Bros. Clone, basically?
No, actually it wasn't. It was more like a third party. It was like third person. like shooter style game,
Uh-huh.
but each one of these characters had their unique abilities, but you would earn enough like in-game currency and try to play your role to try to get more of the same character, like more characters and stuff, and you could get like crystal versions of these characters and gold versions of these characters. So like an actual gacha, equally as useless. But
You didn't have to pay for it.
you didn't have to pay for it. You just had to grind the shit out of it. Like, and I mean like hella grind. But it was a fun like it was like a Splatoon meets Power Stone
Okay.
meets Overwatch, if Overwatch was back in 2000. But they had their own unique kits and stuff, and it was over the shoulder for most of them. I think a couple of them were more first person, and the other ones weren't. But each one had like their unique skills and stuff like that, and some of the golder and crystal ones and stuff would have more power to stuff, but nothing too exciting. Then you would have stuff like tanks. They're all like toys.
Yeah.
They were clearly toys.
Okay.
So you had like this nurse with an overly sized syringe that would fly around on it and like heal your friends and stuff. Then you would have a tank, or you would have this like super wannabe robot Gundams that had super laser that just destroyed everything anyway because they're OP as shit. But like,
do they have a competitive scene for this game? Or is this
honestly, I think it was way too early for this game to have a competitive scene.
Okay.
And I also think because the game was, I'm guessing, was based off an anime, because there was a lot of anime-esque like promo art for it too. I think a lot of people didn't really pay it any mind.
Okay.
But honestly, if that game came out now, like anywhere, like even on PC, like because Capcom apparently hates money, I can see like a small, like Lethal League Blaze level of community playing it.
Okay.
Like it's just small enough that you can get everyone in a convention to compete against one another.
Okay.
Like if that makes sense. Like a very solid community behind it. But I do see a lot of people like playing it offline for funsies. Like
Okay.
it's had that same appeal like Smash. Like you can just get a couple friends in the room and play it.
Yeah.
Just for ridiculous reasons. It was actually a pretty good game.
Okay.
And that's like those type of games. Go Hypergrind was another one. Freaky Flyers, the people who made Pogs made a video game. Were all really great games on the GameCube. Like I loved them. Piano 3 was also actually one of my favorite ones
Yeah.
in that. And
Was the Capcom
again, Capcom
4?
hates money.
I know.
What? I don't want to port that woman over. But then you are not getting money.
Well, they're such fucking cowards on like their
Well,
decisions.
Capcom's smaller now. Capcom's
Yeah.
much smaller than people think they are now. Like
Yeah.
they're starting to grow again. Thank God for Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
But
It's almost as
They-
if that was the card you should have been playing this entire time.
no, I don't think it would have worked as well as people keep saying it should have. I think it was just because they're blowing their load on too much of like high end games that
yeah,
just
true.
didn't work.
Yeah,
Like,
Planet.
Lost Planet 3.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that one. What was the other? Bionic Commandos remake.
Oh fuck yeah.
I'm gonna marry my arm, bitch. Every single millennial heard that they knew
Spoilers.
they would be able to do something about. Spoiler? No, that's not a spoiler. I'm saving you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But it was the
Why the
fail
fuck
after
did-
fail after fail after fail after fail.
And then Remember Me also
And-
bombed all hard.
And what sucks because I actually liked Remember Me.
Okay.
Remember Me was actually not that bad. It was just happened to be at the end of this train wreck, and
Yeah.
they're like, I don't really want to touch the one perfect looking one.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure if these train wrecks that did look good were this bad, I am not touching the one that looks like it might be bad again.
Yeah.
Like, I actually liked it. I actually liked that one, but none of the rest. Poor
even-
Piano 3, you cowards.
I know.
But, yeah, no, like there was a lot of like experimental games that they bled into the GameCube. That's why I really liked that system. Like obviously I was just like everyone else who owned like the cream of the crop. You have to own Melee. You have to own the very first Animal Crossing in the U.S. You have to own all sorts of those games back then. And I did. Like I owned Twilight Princess. I owned. Was one of the few people who owned Twilight Princess on the GameCube. That's weird.
How much does that thing go for, anyways? Now,
I don't know. I haven't looked that up. I just have it. That's all. That's all I know. I also had some shitty games. I had Tom and Jerry was a horrible one. Oh no! What's really bad? Universal Studios Theme Park Adventures.
yeah. Was it an Angry Video Game Nerd did a video on that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have never heard anyone else ever play it but me. And I can tell you right now, I can tell you how bad everyone's reaction's gonna be to that game. If you can call it that. It was so bad that GameStop literally tried to charge me to take it. It had a negative return value of $5. I kid you not.
Oh shit.
It was bad.
I thought Angry Video Game Nerd said you had to clean up trash
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
so. Oh my god.
Yeah, you had to clean up trash to get a little money and stuff, and then you forget some girl's phone, and you have to return that, and that's basically the whole story of the game. And then you could try some stuff, some rides, and then you could look at other rides. It was horrible. I don't know. I want to know. I want to know the story behind that. Like, get fucking Matt Muscles or something like that on it, and
Yeah.
go from there. Like,
Yeah.
see what's going on. But yeah. But we also instead of just the
Oh, consoles you hate.
no, we're not going to talk consoles we hate. That's going to be for another time.
Okay.
That's going to be a sad, depressing moment. But like shitty games we love. We know they're shitty. But we love them.
Sorry.
But
No. Games we loves. Well,
Yep.
before everybody jumped on it, Kingsfield. Yeah. My From Software boys out there. Yeah, Kingsfield runs.
is that considered a shitty game though? Now that everyone loves it for some reason?
Well, because
can you call it a shitty game now that people can appreciate it now?
when I try to tell people to play it, everybody's like, "Oh, it's stupid. It's so dumb." And then everybody dove into like Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and now they're like, "Oh, we can't get enough Dark Souls." I'm like,
Yeah, it didn't work. Didn't help with Lost Kingdoms. Man,
Yeah.
fuck you.
yeah, oh man, I would say it's one of those because when I try to get people, but before From Software.
But
was
was
big.
it even like rated poorly? Was it like
Yeah,
Kingsfield? It's trash. Get rid of it.
Yeah,
and
just
now
like-
it's like Kingsfield. It's great because it's Dark Souls.
Yeah, basically.
Oh.
Well, because like when you look at the reviews, before it was like 1s, 2s out of 10, and then yeah, Dark Souls came out and everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's the best thing ever!" It's like I've been trying to tell people. I've been trying to tell you guys. Yeah,
I liked it before it was cool.
exactly. So fuck you.
No, I don't have. Sadly, I don't have any of those type of games. I have games that people go, "Why the hell do you still fucking like that thing?" One of them, I'm gonna just go like old. One of them was Quest 64. I still love that game.
Yeah, I heard hit or miss, but
It was for most of the people I've seen. It was either like, oh, it was okay, or it was just bad.
oh, okay.
Like I've never seen anybody love the game,
Yeah,
especially to the degree I liked it. Like the best is people would be like, yeah, it's alright. Like that's the best I've ever gotten out of it. And I'm like, I'll take it. That's validation for me. Thank you.
so what is it, anyways?
Basically you start off like as this like kid with a little weird Captain Quail like flip in his hair, and for some reason like your dad goes disappearing, and so you literally just go on a quest. His name is Brian because apparently you can't make unique names in medieval times. But Brian starts going on a quest to collect these like stones and such from these monsters. And over time, when you leveled up, you had 4 elements, and you added a point to these elements. And eventually, once you hit certain thresholds of points, you get another stage of more powerful spells in that element.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you just like fully focus on one, you kind of have the downside that it would just eat up all your fucking mana.
Yeah.
And the way to charge mana, if you don't have any health potion or mana potions or anything, is you had to smack the crap out of things. And since you're a wizard, you don't got that much arm strength.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like a weird turn-based game. But instead of people just lining up like on 2 different sides of a sidewalk, willing to throw rocks at each other, it was grid-based. Basically, you had this large octagon area in where you would walk around in, and kind of place yourself. Like that's where I go, and then the monsters and stuff start doing their turn and stuff. But if they're within range, you can summon certain spells. For instance, like you can you can toss fireballs, you can toss wind shears, you can toss stone spikes, you can toss icicles, right?
Yeah.
But once you started getting more stages, you can like the first stage it would be like I want fire, and then you add rock to it, and then because of that you got like this lava spout that would hurt this do damage. So you mixed spells together a lot.
Yeah.
But they weren't as creative when looking back now. But I still think the whole concept was really cool.
Yeah.
I still think it's really cool. I actually still think it was ahead of its time at the time.
Oh, okay.
Like, if somebody made an RPG like that now, people would be like, best game ever.
Yeah.
So, way to reinvigorate the RPG genre.
Yeah.
Take that, Xenoblade 2, and your shitty-ass battle mechanics. But like, it was something really different at the time.
Yeah.
Because at the time, you had Final Fantasy VIII at their latest to compare it to. Like, you just had people just like, it's a wolf. Now y'all line up, and we're going to go ahead and fight them one-on-one. You know? And just take turns.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really cool at the time.
I'm trying to think of another one that I like, but everybody just fucking hate. Red Ninja on PS2.
Red Ninja? I have never heard of that game, to be honest.
I know. It was like...
It was a spiritual successor to Blue Ninja. And Green Chef, which was really weird.
Because he was actually a samurai, yeah. Nah. Well,
he forged his weapon into a pan and to vow to never fight again.
I liked it until I got to the final boss. I don't know what to do, and I was like, fuck this game. But maybe that's why nobody's ever like heard of it. Maybe some of you guys might know, but yeah.
I think another one of mine that I actually really loved, and like I'm pretty sure it's just gonna be nostalgia by this point because I haven't replayed it and realized that like how dumb I was. Was a PS1 game called Redstone, or Project Redstone, something to that point. But basically, it was about it's basically somebody looked at Diablo and was like, I can totally do that, but worse. And they did, but worse than that. And I loved it because it's an action RPG like Diablo, and I like Diablo. And I was worried that I wouldn't be with the cool kids for not liking a game that was basically a Wish version of Diablo.
Well, it's just like...
It was really short, if I recall correctly, too. Like, I think I beat it like within a week of being, a dumb kid with an attention span of a bumblebee.
Oh, a Soul Sacrifice. That's like a really good Monster Hunter clone. Like, well, it's not Monster Hunter. It's done so fucking well. It's what is it?
God Hunter?
Or God Eater? No, it's not. It's
God Eater. I
God
said
Eater.
God Hunter.
Yeah. Well, because it's 4-player arena based, so it's just you just got one giant ring, and it's all bosses, and depending on the spells that you have, changes the reaction to your boss too, and
Interesting.
yeah, and you can either save or sacrifice, and it builds up your meter on defense and health, or offense and spell count. I think I can't remember what it was. it's a super interesting game because it's like this isn't Monster Hunter, but it satisfies you. It satisfies that Monster Hunter if you Monster Hunter fans are looking for a Monster Hunter game. Um, and then yeah, it was like the one game where I got for the Vita where it's like, if you want a Vita, this is worth it to get a Vita because Vita ain't got shit.
There's
I'm
that
so
one
sad.
game for Vita that you need to get. Oh
So
yeah,
sad.
what is that? Just the one game that exists, actually.
Because I can't think of anything else that was good on there. I was like, man, I'm so disappointed in the Vita. They should have just ran it until like the PS6.
The Trails of Cold Steel, I heard, was pretty good.
Okay.
That was some of Falcom's last efforts before they started teaming up with Nippon Ichi to get stuff on Switch because their market's starting to dwindle.
Yeah.
So, but what was another shitty game that I liked? This is some people are gonna be like, no, I love that game. You're lying. I know you're lying because you weren't around loving this game when it first came out. But Custom Robo,
Yeah.
I fucking love that game. That game was great. Like I played copious amounts of Custom Robo.
Oh, I love the music.
The music was alright too. I actually liked, as much as I liked the GCN one, I still like the DS one better because there was a little bit more customization in it. Even though
Although one thing I think they could have done was give us different weapons that aren't guns, because that's kind of the point of Custom Robos, that you had your weapons would traject in weird angles, and just to teach the player these aren't your regular guns, because the first guns you get act like regular guns.
but they're also the weakest too, though.
Yeah.
So they weren't the greatest. You had to start adapting to these other like unique weirdness, and I think that was really cool. Like it was the only way I could get the Power Stone fix I've always wanted again, without it being Power Stone. And then even Nintendo was like, "Watch, we're gonna go ahead and treat it like Capcom treats Power Stone, and forget it ever exists to a point that any existence of it is pretty much erased off the face of the planet."
Oh man. Well, if you can't beat them,
Not
make
even
your own.
It's not even an assist trophy right now.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah.
How do you think I feel right now?
At least not F-Zero. Right.
It's another game that I love that is just like, well, I don't know what that is. Did somebody say woo me? We're just gonna make a Splatoon 3. So,
Other M. I liked it. I don't know why people are so freaking pissed off about it. Well, I mean, the story was kind of like you could just skip it all, but
I will say the
It
story
played
was
pretty well.
probably the only thing that pissed me off with that game. Like but it was just one game.
Yeah.
Like there's stories that were garbage in just one game before too. Like I don't know, Mario's missing. Mario's Time Machine. And anything that has the word cart in it.
no, Mario's dead.
Mario's dead. He can no longer walk and run and jump. He's just gonna be stuck in a cart like a paraplegic. But
But yeah, Other M is just too much exposition. I never liked a story of any kind when they just spit expository dialogue in your face.
I need to tell you why I'm upset by a baby crying. I needs to tell you. Yeah, no.
Other than that, though, it played perfectly fine.
I liked how it played, actually. I'm more of a classic guy. Like, I am not a big fan of Prime at all. Or the fact that we made Retro. I'm sorry.
Get
not
out of
Retro.
here. Get
Prime
out of here.
Studios.
Get out of here.
Prime
Get out
Studios.
of here.
Because that's all they're ever going to do.
I like the ambience. That's why. Maybe if they just make don't make a Metroid. Just give us a secluded first-person shooting game. I'd be happy.
just some dude around a campfire in the middle of the winter woods. It's fucking beautiful.
Well, they do capture just being all by yourself, and there's nothing but the bad guys and the enemies, and that's it.
Then Metroid Prime 3 happened, and then you had allies and a Federation force behind your back.
Yeah, but they're just
Yeah, but that doesn't
puzzles.
count.
They're just they show up. Oh, I'm here to help, and then they fuck off. And you never see them again.
Basically, like every character in Final Fantasy. You need to switch parties so I can feel helpful. No, Kate Sith, you sit in the back. Mind your goddamn business. But
It's another
no.
thing that's kind of a shame too with Final Fantasy. There's not classes anymore, or at the very least, like with
Oh, they got
7,
rid
8.
of that a while back. That's probably one of the reasons why like Bravely Default does so well.
Yeah,
Is because it's Bravely Default to me is like what would have happened if Final Fantasy kept the classes.
yeah,
I think what happened was they started kind of exploring a new era of Final Fantasy that gave them that weird pseudo science medieval times
yeah,
style that we know about,
yeah,
right? So that's kind of why Final Fantasy 16 looks weird to me.
yeah.
Like
It's Dark Souls. It's Dark Souls. You can't fool me.
yeah,
It's Dark Souls.
Yeah, basically, it's Dark Souls.
It's gonna be one-on-one boss fights. It looks like Dark Souls. You can't fool me.
And just like Dark Souls, playing a black mage is the only way to play the fucking game. Try to play a fucking dragoon, it's not gonna happen. Whatever. But no, I think that's what happened is like instead of finding this new like identity, which is current for it, like it's how Final Fantasy is now.
Yeah.
Period. Since 7, it's always been that way, and I don't think you can ever shake that because Cloud is the Final Fantasy character.
Well, ever since since all the original teams left, like I don't know, we got Nomura from way the fuck back then. He could lead us, right? And I think he's just like,
Did I hear belts?
Yeah. Sounds like some belts to me.
But no, you can't shake the fact that Cloud and Sephiroth are the Final Fantasy characters.
Yeah.
And people keep saying, well, they keep shoving it down your throats. Well, yeah, they're the ones that keep selling.
Yeah.
Like, Cactuar doesn't sell as much as a Sephiroth figure.
Yeah.
Or a fucking plush. If you made a chibi Sephiroth plush and go, you have this or a Chocobo, what do you think most of the people are going to buy?
Yeah.
Imagine getting a shirtless one, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's going to just sell, like, ever. So with Bravely Default, it feels like that time that they could have changed how they will switch or change directions and stuff. Bravely Default is like, well, what if we kept the job system instead and returned to our roots?
Yeah.
And I think that's what Bravely Default is. I think that's why a lot of people like Bravely Default. That's why I like Bravely Default. Is it gives you characters that are far more diverse in the functions in which they do.
Yeah.
And
But when is it too much variety, though? That's kind of a thing where it's like, this guy's kind of an attacker, but he has more defense, and he could kind of cast spells. Well, there's this one who has better defense, but can't attack as much, but has decent spells. But there's this one who has...
I feel like, honestly, at the end of Bravely Default, because since I played the first one, I didn't play a second, but I feel that at the end of it, though, it's really the characters you enjoy the most.
Yeah.
Like,
They're all
because
just OP.
because once you start churning out a lot of the characters like skill sets and like blending the skill sets together, you're gonna basically build your own character.
Yeah.
In a way, like you're like, I forgot my main character. Like he basically was like a dragoon death knight tank thing.
Yeah.
Like he took all the hits, but he also protected everyone. Agnes was more of a healer and such, with a lot of firepower behind her. So when anything happened, she could just heal everyone like that.
Okay.
Like it was just instant. So like it was stuff like that. Like at first they all have like rough starting points, but eventually when you start building everyone up, you can kind of mold them the way you want them to be.
Yeah.
So I think that's why a lot of people really liked Bravely Default, is because it's like Final Fantasy without being Final Fantasy. It's not Final Fantasy subtitle Bravely Default. You know, like they're not trying to slap Final Fantasy on everything again.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of surprised they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, this is an RPG. Slap! It's Final Fantasy RPG.
Oh, I know. Well, they were confused. They're like, huh? This sells well? It's like, look at Pokemon. They haven't changed their formula for fucking ever, and
it's
still
funny.
killing it.
It's funny because like people who hate the way Pokemon is right now want all these like contenders to be successful just so Pokemon could be better, so they could go back to Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
the way
we just
people
want
were
to teach
talking
them a
about it, like
lesson.
it was online Nexomon or something like that, and people were like all excited about that. Like, I can't wait for this game to really curb stomp Pokemon into the ground and stuff. And I was like, but why? He's like, well, so Pokemon can learn their lesson. I'm like, so they make the game, and then you go back to Pokemon, and then Nexomon has done nothing to appeal to you.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is I want this game to just be. I want Pokemon to be jealous. That's basically what that is. That's basically what that is. Because
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck with this game, and then Pokemon's like, "How dare you touch my woman? I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna have 300 new Pokemon. I'm gonna have 6 more types. I'm gonna have circular infinite battles. I'm gonna have diagonal battles." No. And then you're like, "Wow, you're not the type of game I married." Like, that's basically what that is.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. It's like, if I make him jealous, he's gonna really change his ways about what they're missing out on me as a consumer. No, that's not how that works.
You'll be coming back. You'll come crawling back.
And they did. They did.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happened, they still did. Like, oh, did they fix some of the things? Oh, you only added 80% more of the decks in, but not all of it? Fine, I'll still come back.
Or all my favorites made it, so I don't give a fuck. Holy shit, man. I don't know. All my favorites made it over.
I think I missed 1 or 2. Like, I don't have many favorites in Pokemon.
Okay.
That's just the way it is for me. Like, so I was actually kind of curious of whether or not they were going to stick to their guns and say, no, we're just basically revitalizing the Pokedex.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, if they stuck to that, they wouldn't have had the same backlash.
Yeah, they shouldn't
They were
have.
just like,
Just don't lie to them.
we're starting the decks from scratch again. This is going to be the new decks because this is a new era of Pokemon.
Yeah.
If they stuck to that, I'm pretty sure more people would have just been like, fine, and grumped it out. But they would still have sat there and was like hoping the next game would fill out the rest of it.
Yeah.
Because you know that's what they would do.
Yeah.
Would have done. Instead of saying, I hate you. Well, I hope Nexomon really teaches you a lesson. And Nexomon sells like not even like 10% of what Pokemon did. And Pokemon is like, what? The second best. Pokemon Sword and Shield is now the second best selling Pokemon game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. And what I think is humorous is I think Pokemon Go actually influenced Pokemon Sword and Shield sales more than the actual Let's Go games.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Let's all go ahead and relish in that because that's not exactly what Pokemon Company was intending. So. But yeah, no. I think that's about what we would talk about as far as my shitty games that we love.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be more that come out, and I'm going to have to break them down eventually. But it is what it is. But we are now kind of getting in on our hour and 15-minute mark, and I'm going to say this is our first podcast, and we're going to go ahead and end it here. And thank you all for listening. And if you have anything, just leave a comment, and let us know how you guys feel about what you would like to hear more of.
Eat. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys.
All right.